she's actually been overseeing this project. So Dr. Reeves. But yeah, it was honestly a fantastic project. I loved working with everyone here at the museum. It was wonderful. It was the first time I've been able to go into like a back room and experience things back there. So really awesome experience. So thank you for letting me do that. But without further ado, we'll get into it. So photogrammetry of ancient coins. So I found this this quote from Albert Einstein. I'm sure all of you have heard it. But definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. That is exactly how I felt for this project. The processes I'd have to do over and over and over until I got it right. And often I felt like I was doing the same exact thing and just hoping for a better result. So I did kind of go insane. That's okay. I think we're all insane. Sorry, I don't know if you guys can see this. It's a little small, but kind of the things I'm going to touch on are the brief overview of photogrammetry, what it is, some of my project goals during this project, the subjects, the coins themselves. I'll talk a little bit about them. My process, my equipment, and then the skills that I learned in doing this project. And then I'll talk a little bit about the speed bumps, some of the problems I encountered and how I overcame them. So, or didn't overcome them. And then conclusion. So, all right, what is photogrammetry? Have any of you heard of photogrammetry? Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a rare thing. Not many people know a lot about it. What it is, it's pretty simple at its core, but it's the science of taking three-dimensional data from physical objects using a camera. So photogrammetry actually has its origins back in the 19th century. Back in the 1850s, there was a guy who's considered, a French guy, who's considered the father of photogrammetry, and he was actually using it to create maps from balloons, hot air balloons. So he would piece together different pictures to create a map, and I think he actually did one of Paris, which got him into a famous foundation or something. Won't get much into that, but unless you want to know later, hold it up for questions. But the underlying concepts have been around since the 17th century, since Leonardo da Vinci. The concepts of perception, how we perceive things, how things are drawn. Those are the basic principles of photogrammetry. Making exact replicas of an object. They were doing that back then. So using yarn and different things. It's actually kind of fascinating if you want to look into it. So. And of course, geometry. Geometry is a huge part. So, of course, math, right? So, what has it been used for? So obviously, small objects. That's what I focused on was coins, ancient coins. Drone photogrammetry is another application, which kind of leads into the next one: larger objects. So drones, kind of something that has become more available recently, has allowed us to take pictures of ruins, buildings, and other really large objects. And I've even seen some people recreate entire towns with a drone. They're in 3D. So really, really awesome. And then the other one that just blows my mind is underwater photogrammetry. So they have rigs that they can take down under the water and take pictures, as many pictures as they need, come back up, process them, and they have all of a sudden a 3D model of a sunken boat or ruins underneath the water. It saves a lot of money because those expeditions aren't cheap to go underwater to explore those things. So really has been a great tool added, especially for archaeologists, but for many people, it's used for a lot of things. So my project goals. The underlying reason, as it says, a solution to a problem. So going through my time as a history student, one thing that kept surfacing was, and it kind of bugged me, but it's true, archaeology at its core is destructive. There's no way around that. When you dig something up, it either has the potential to be destroyed or it will be destroyed. And it's a sad fact. But how else are we going to learn about history, you know? And so this is a way that we can preserve the history in a digital form, and essentially immortalize it, you know, as long as we have computers and things to look at this and to analyze the 3D models that we make, we will always have this data, even if the object itself is gone. So this is why I started looking into this, because it is a huge solution to a huge problem. So the subjects. These are a little bit bigger. The coins are in the back, but these are some of the pictures of the coins that I chose. So all from BCE. I wanted to kind of narrow my focus into ancient coins, as ancient as I could. And these are some of the oldest that are here at the Durham Museum. There's a Thracian coin. That one is itty bitty, and interestingly enough, that one gave me the least issues with recreating the 3D model. So it was really kind of cool. Silver Decadrach. Thank you. Greek teacher right here. So that's Alexander the Great on one side and Zeus on the other side, with an eagle. That's a Macedonian silver. I'm gonna rely on you, Ruth. Thank you. With Philip on one side, Philip II. I can't remember who
It's here on the horse.
Is it? Okay, thank you. I don't think anyone said who the person on the horse was.
See, you've got to be a Macedonianist to know that.
Right. And then here's the other 3 coins. So I chose 6 in total. A gold octadrachum from 285 BCE, and that's Alexandria on one side, and a cornucopia on the other. And then a Macedonian gold stater, which that's actually Athene on one side. And on the other side, I don't know who's
It's
with me.
Ige.
It's who, sir?
Ige,
Okay.
like your shoes.
Oh, right, yeah, with the wings, right,
Right.
yeah. And then lastly, from Egypt, a silver tetradrachum.
Those are the 2 Ptolemies.
That's what I was trying to think of the names, right? I remember seeing that, so thank you.
That's not quite that, that's or Sinaway. It's a different Ptolemy.
Same family, different.
Same thing.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Thank you, I appreciate it. It's awesome to have an expert in here.
Or annoying.
No, thank you. It saves me. So these are the 6 that I chose, which is awesome because it gave me a very a range of different colors, different materials. There's gold, there's silver, and anywhere in between. And it was interesting to see how they all pulled together differently. There we go. Equipment. First off, I don't think I've really explained the well, I guess that comes after, I'm sorry. Okay, so equipment. This is my equipment. This is what I use. Essentially, if you have a camera and an object, you're good. At the core of it, that's all you really need. You can do it with your phone. Lots of people do it with their phones. And with how common computers are nowadays, it makes it easy for them to take pictures with their phones and then go to a computer and process it all. Now, when you want to get good, high quality, high definition models, then you have to step up just a little bit. I ended up getting it's a Sony camera. This is this giant thing on top of it is a flash. Here, let me take it off so I can show you all. So this is a flash, a massive flash, and you need this much light. Actually, at times this is not enough light, and it gets really bright. I can demonstrate.
Whoa.
That's not the high setting of it. Oh. That's not enough light often. And it's because of this filter that I have on it. And there's a similar filter on the actual lens itself called cross polarization. So I'm polarizing the light as well as what the image being brought in. And so it gets rid of a lot of the glares, the reflections that are inherent on coins, which cleans it up and makes it possible to create these 3D models. So this is what I use, along with a tripod and then a turntable. This turntable will spin the object at whatever speed you need it, and it'll stop every so many degrees so that you can take a picture. And it's even operable from my smartphone, which is cool. So, technology. That is all I use. That's and there's a picture of me actually doing it here. So, yeah. So like I put in there. So it doesn't take much. However, the quality of the results are linked to the quality of the equipment, unfortunately. So skills required. I was waiting to see if I got a chuckle. Hide the Pain Herald is an embodiment of how I felt during this project. Sometimes it just didn't work. So, there's at the core of it, what is required is a will to learn and a whole lot of patience. Now, if you want to get into the actual technical skills, principles of photography, what f-stops are, what exposure is, what all this depth of field, and how to manipulate those so that you can get the clearest picture possible, so that the computer has a lot of data to work with. You need a basic understanding of geometry and perspective, if you're wanting to get precise and accurate models. I would say intermediate computer skills, because the program, it is pretty user-friendly, the one that I was using. However, it takes a certain level of problem solving. So, an understanding of Photoshop, which I use to clear up the pictures and make them look nice and presentable for the program. And then a good understanding of 3D models. So here we go, now my process. So how it works is I set up this, I set up an object on there, and I will set it to take 24 pictures. The way I do it, I do 24 pictures all the way around. And then I will change the angle and do another 24 pictures. And I think for each of those coins, I did 4 different angles. So 4 times 24, that's, I'm not good at math, 96? 96 pictures per side of the coin. So then I would flip the coin and then do that all over again. So each coin was roughly about 200 pictures. So after I get the pictures, then I have to process them. So I go to Photoshop, I clean them up, I brighten them up so that they can be seen. If there's any like dust or anything like that, I'll clear that up and just make it look, the background look as dark and clean as necessary so that it's not trying to pick up data points from straight things. And then I imported into the program that I use, which was Metashape. It's a fantastic program. It's one of the best on the market. A lot of people swear by it, and it is really user-friendly. It's awesome to work with. It has its flaws, though. It definitely has its flaws. So at its core, that is the process. So that program will run several processes, and then you'll come up with a 3D model. So let me quickly exit out of this. I wanted to just kind of show I took some screenshots of the process so that you guys can get a feel for all right, so what it's doing when it creates a 3D model, it takes points of data from each picture that correlates with each other. So like one spot in one picture is the same spot as this spot in another picture. And it compiles it all into these little itty bitty dots. I don't know if y'all can see that, but those are the data points that it uses to create the surface of the 3D model. This is the side of a coin. Let me go to see it here. It's called a dense cloud. So it's a cloud of points. And you can zoom in. As you zoom in, you start to see all the little data points. You can see kind of right in here, there's holes, there's missing data. And that usually happens when there's a shiny spot or a really dark spot. Glass, good luck. You won't be able to get glass because it doesn't know what to do with it. It really doesn't. And then you get funky images and just weird looking models, and it's fun. That's actually inside the coin. Kind of fun. So now you can see you've seen inside a coin. Not really, it's actually done. And then before I pull this one up, so that little coin that you blended me with your stuff, the one that was a gift.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I decided to see if I could make it into a 3D model with how small it is.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Oh, wow. A spit.
So there it is.
That's what that's called. It's called a spit.
It's smaller than the Thracian coin back there.
Yeah.
It is tiny. But that's it. If you ever wanted to see it big. So this is again the dense cloud. You can see all the curvature and everything to it. Now this coin, I was reading the description on it. It says it has the head of Heracles on one side, and I couldn't see it. So this is the 3D model now. I just switched to the 3D model that I created. I couldn't see it until I'm gonna in a second turn it and then turn off the texture, which is kind of the skin of the model. You can kind of make out the face now, but watch this. And that's something that you can't do. You can't just take the appearance off of a coin to see it, or And some of these coins, cleaning them is destructive. This makes it possible to see these details that you previously wouldn't have been able to see.
Imagine being a numismatics person, figuring that out before you could clean it up.
So, and that's just, there was another example, and I wish I had saved this video so that I can tell you guys what it is. It was either on YouTube or it was a documentary or something, but someone studying in Egypt did the same thing to a wall. And then they took the texture off and they were able to see the tooling marks and how they were actually able to carve into these walls. So it's incredible what you can do with photogrammetry. So, these are all the mapped photos. So it'll show you every single point where you took a photo around the coin, which is the center there. It's all 200 photos. Here's another one of the mapped photos, so you can see all the different levels, the heights that I took it at. So, all right, moving on. Okay, so speed bumps. Now we'll talk about some of the things that went wrong. So in that picture, you can see the pictures, how it kind of just curves down right there. That's not supposed to be there. And I don't know if y'all can see it. It's, again, kind of small, but there's this little bit right here, which it perceived as being part of the image or part of the object over there. Hence why those are curved down and not continuing as a circle right here. So that was 90% of my experience with these models. Was dealing with that and trying different things to try and clear it up and make it see that it was the same object. One of the problems with coins is they are so flat. So when you flip it, all the computer has to go off of to think that it's the same object is the rim. Because that's the only area that is the same in both sets of pictures. And so I actually have a macro lens on there to get nice up and close so that I can get as much detail of that rim as I could. So speed bumps, the software. It's great, but it's also a nightmare to work with. But I mean, it's great because it really does work at the end of the day. It's just, you're ripping your hair out every time. So the nature of the coins, they're small, they're shiny, they're metallic. This honestly was probably the hardest thing for me to start out with as a project, looking back at it now.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. And honestly, I wanted the challenge. I looked into it, I knew that it was gonna be hard because of all these factors, but it ended up being good because I learned a lot. I learned how to deal with all these, the textures and everything like that. So the cross polarization got rid of most of the glare, and so you get these really clean images. And then the lack of knowledge. There's still a lot I need to learn, especially about textures. A lot of the textures on these coins don't look quite right. Don't look quite like the colors and everything like that. And so there's a lot to be learned there on how to get good images to recreate the texture. I wouldn't say perfectly, but to be light similar. Some of the solutions. So when it couldn't piece together the images by itself, you end up having to splice them together. So you end up creating two separate halves, processing them completely. So these are two separate models in the picture, but they're the same coin. And then you try and just finagle them together and try and make it mesh up. So it's not going to be perfect. You know, the thickness and everything like that, you lose all that, unfortunately, when you have to do this. And 3 of the coins that I did ended up being like this. So the other 3 went together great. So I explained cross-polarization. More targeted pictures of the edge was another solution to try and get them to mesh up. But like I said, there's still a lot to learn. So in conclusion, is it worth it? Yes, it is. I would say it is. It's been one semester of working with this, and I feel like I can create a model pretty decently. Like I said, there's still a lot for me to learn, but I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on this. And so if 4 months equates to being able to save a piece of history, I'd say that's worth it. It's totally worth it. And being able to notice things on the coins, like you saw, taking the texture off and being able to see that phase. There's lots of information to be learned. It'll save money, like I was mentioning with the underwater photogrammetry, it saves money there because then everyone can analyze the ruins and the 3D objects from the comfort of their own home, and study them. That also applies to, I know a lot of countries are recalling their cultural artifacts and things like that. That's also another, I wouldn't say problem because it's great, it really is great. But now this is a way that we can study it outside of that country, so I'd say it's worth it, 100%.
Another thing I'll add too is
Yeah.
archaeologists, since if you're working, you can't take it out of the country, but you can take these out of the country and work on them at home.
Exactly. So, yeah. Let me just make sure that I got everything that I wanted to here. This is the only other thing. That is the worst thing to see, and that is the most common thing I saw. It says some photos fail to align. Please reset alignment. So, anyway, we can get into, let me go ahead and show off the coins real quick, and then we can get into the VR demo. Here. So these are the actual 3D images. So that's the Alexandria one.
Isn't that cool, everybody? I'm so excited.
Zoom in, and you'll be able to see in VR. I have 4 different coins. I didn't put all of them in there, but I put 4 different coins in there. And they're larger than life and spinning, and you can walk up to them and see them, So it's really fantastic how you can analyze these, and you can see all the little different details and everything. So there's that one. Here's the Egyptian one. I'll run through these just real quick, but I have on my slide, I'll put it up at the end, some contact information and this website that you can go and access and actually see these. So for yourself, it works great on your phone. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing how that eagle showed up. This was one that I had to splice together, but you can't really tell too much. There's a line right there. But so it's not horrible. You have to splice it.
I was like, there's a line there if you say so.
Here's Dr. Reams's coin.
Do you have any idea what might be on the backside for him?
No, I can you drop on this? Can you drop it to see what his stuff? You did it before.
See, I was in
It looks like it might be his club. I'm not laying the paper first, so. There we go. So there's the guy.
There's the face. Look.
There we go. Oh, yeah. Also, it could potentially be a torch. But I bet it's meant to be a club.
I would think club. I'm not sure what
Right.
Yeah. Maybe a garden in there.
Yeah, all right, sorry, carry on.
Yeah. Here's this one. I mean, just the gold looks amazing, but unfortunately, the gold ones were the ones that didn't work out too well. That kind of splice. I mean, again, you can see the lines there, but they look amazing. There's Zeus. Zeus. Cool. You can see the writing along the side there. And then along rotated. Come on. It doesn't want me to rotate it, but there's Alexander on the other side. And then there's the itty bitty creation coin opening. But even this one, I mean, it's spectacular. The level of detail that you're able to get with it, and with how small it is. And then that's a lion. Supposedly. I'm assuming that's its name right there.
Yeah.
That's probably its
It
face.
could be a face. Did it say it was a lion or a person?
I think it's a lion.
Okay, it's one. So it's a four.
This is probably one of my favorites. The level of detail on the meat. There's yeah, pretty neat. Let me go ahead and throw this back up. If you guys want this information, I'll throw it up for a second while I get the VR stuff set up. So there's my email, the Sketchfab website, the one I just showed you. I do have to go enable those, and with your permission, I won't make it downloadable, but could I open that up for viewing as well?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I'll have that
Let me
available.
correct one spelling error.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fine, yeah.
And then my phone number. So yeah, I plan on continuing to do this. So if you have any need for it, definitely contact me.
I have a few more coins.
I can do larger objects too.
He's done with coins.
See my fair share.
You need
So
social.
I loved it. I really did love it. So thank you again.